Hey, welcome to Friday. You made it through the whole week. I hope you're with us every day. If not, you can back up and listen to some of the stuff we had. This whole week has been trying to be the antidote toward a stressed out, miserable holiday season. And I couldn't wait to wrap it up with this. One of my favorite writers is a guy named Robert Fulghum. Robert Fulghum's written a lot of books. My favorite one is All I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, which unfortunately I read after spending $30,000 to $40,000 on graduate school. But in that book, he makes a very interesting observation. He says this: find a group of little kids and ask that group of little kids, how many of you can sing? Every hand, drop in the air. He goes, what can you sing? Anything. What if you don't know the words? We'll make them up. Okay. And then he says, find that group of little kids. How many of you can draw? Everything goes. I mean, what can you draw? Anything. Pick it out. And then he says, find that same group of little kids when they're adults. And ask that same group of kids, how many of you can sing? No hands go up, only in the shower. Nobody says, how many of you can draw? Nothing at all, looks like six figures. And then Fulghum asks this genius, deep question. He just says, what happened? What happened between kindergarten and adulthood to stomp out this God-given zest and passion for living that God literally puts in the heart of every single child who was ever born? All of us had that. And by the time we're adults, our culture has paved over our souls, as one person said, and we've lost passion. All I want to do is ask one question. How do you get it back? How do you get joy back? How do you get passion back? How do you get life back? Especially when Christmas now is like 10 days away. How do you get it back? Okay, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm going to give you a prescription. You can either memorize this, it's just 3 words, okay? And I'm going to give you a prescription out of the Bible for how to rediscover passion, how to recapture joy, and how to experience some really great things at Christmas, okay? And it's straight out of the Bible, okay? And I'll give you the 3 words right now. Investigation led to adoration, which led to transformation. Investigation, adoration, transformation. In other words, if I want my life to change, adoration happens then, and before that is investigation, okay? And where do you learn that? It's basically the wise men, okay? And they start out, and it says, they actually, wise men from the east come to Jerusalem, and they ask, where's he who has been born King of the Jews? In other words, how do you just rediscover a sense of wonder and joy and peace at Christmas? How do you enjoy the presence of Christ? I want to give you a great quote. Once I'm convinced that preparing the heart is more important than preparing the tree, I'll be a lot less frustrated at the end of the day. The first thing is this: investigation. Their investigation, then it says this: when they saw the star, they were overjoyed and they knelt down and they basically worshiped, okay? Their investigation turned into adoration. Why is that a big deal? Because as one person said, you don't get brownie points for believing in the virgin birth. I mean, it's in every catechism statement, I believe in the virgin birth, I believe in Jesus Christ. You don't get brownie points for believing in the virgin birth. What do you get? You get to live in a different world. You get to live in a whole different world when you believe that. A world where virgin births occur is different from a world where they don't. A world where we have a reliable word from God in the scriptures. A world where God shows up. A world where God makes amazing. A world where you can have a world you have to live for. That means you can spend some time in adoration, which means instead of focusing on yourself, you're focusing on God. And you're thinking, well, how will that transform you? Investigation leads to adoration, which leads to transformation. They then were changed, and it literally said they went home a different route, a different direction. How do you change? How do you be different? Investigation leads to adoration, which leads to transformation, which means spend some time in investigation. I just bought a devotional book. It's by Bob Goff, actually, and it's 365 days. I am not getting out of bed in the morning any day this year without reading the devotion for that day. In other words, I want to spend my day in investigation. That then should lead to adoration, and hopefully, my wife's hoping I become better and are transformed. And you look at the stuff and go, what happens when I don't do that? And the building of the Taj Mahal had this haunting legend. The reason the whole thing, it's one of the wonders of the world, it has been. The favorite wife of the Shah died, and devastated, he resolved to honor her by constructing a magnificent temple and to service her tomb. And by the way, that's why the Taj Mahal was built, as a final resting place for his favorite wife. And he threw himself into this project. He placed, he placed her coffin in the center of a large parcel of land and literally ordered that construction being built of this magnificent temple would be around it. And folks, no expense was spared to make her final resting place one of the wonders of the world. But as weeks turned into months and months turned into years, the Shah's grief over his wife and focus was eclipsed by the project. He no longer mourned her absence. The construction consumed him. And one day, while walking through the construction thing, checking on things, he bumped his leg against a wooden box. The prince brushed it off and was mad that it was there. And he said, "This is a mess," and he ordered workers to throw out the wooden box. The Shah didn't realize that when he ordered the disposal of that box, he had forgotten that inside that box were the remains of his wife, the one the temple was destined to get. In other words, the very person that the whole thing was meant to honor was discarded in the building of what was supposed to honor. That can happen to us. We can get so busy preparing everything that we end up throwing out the Jesus that the entire thing was meant to honor. So my prayer today is this, that a new pattern emerges, Investigation, which leads to adoration, which then results in life change, transformation. Either that or it's frustration and stagnation, and nobody wants to live that as a life. I hope this prescription, write it down, practice it, and communicate with us. Let us know what happens. I'm doing that this year. I've been too busy doing too many things. I'm going to, on purpose, focus on investigation and adoration and see what transformation God brings about. Hope the same thing for you. It's been a privilege being with you this week. I hope this has helped transform the way Christmas is celebrated. God bless everybody.